Hi, my name is Diana Hernandez, Communications Assistant for the City of Enid. With me is City Manager Jerald Gilbert.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah,
Good afternoon, Diana.
Thank you for being here. I know you had to travel through rain to get here.
It's raining again in Enid.
Yes, it is. So speaking of rain, let's jump into projects and see what projects are going to be halted because of the rain. Now, right now, we're working on the skate park project. Now, that's quite a ways out still. It's not going to be affected, or is it?
Yeah, typically projects that are affected by rain like this are projects where, for instance, they're pouring concrete. That this would impact their ability to pour concrete and particularly to prepare the form. So any job, road and street work, bridge work, those kind of things would be delayed. Things that, for instance, the parking lot of the downtown hotel, which is progressing. They have done some concrete work there. My guess is that they're halted right now because it's raining. So these will be short-term setbacks and don't impair the ability to get those projects done long-term. The skate park is coming along. It's about 70, you'll see, we'll have 75% complete plans later this week, I believe Thursday.
Now, speaking of plans and halted, the city has gotten a lot into picking up the debris, which a couple of storms ago, they have done really good now. Is the rain going to be halting that process further, or are they about done?
The rain may impact that. We're down to under 200 call-ins or scheduled pickups, and so that's about normal. So I believe that after this week, I think we're going to say we're done with storm cleanup, and we're going to go to just what people are calling in and move to that. One of the challenges during this time is just the sheer volume of pickups. We've had well over 400 or 500 calls for pickups during this time frame, and there's way more piles of debris out there than that. We find that out when we go out to an area because we don't just pick up the one. We get everything in that area, which encompasses some of the call-ins, and then there's typically people who have piled up stuff who didn't call in. So I know we're down to about 200 calls, so we're about back to normal. By the end of this week, I think we'll be putting one truck on each side of town, on the east and west side, and going back to processing orders as normal in the order that they've been called in. And one of the difficulties we've had during this time is we've been focused on brush. So all those debris piles, so I see mattresses and other things piled up at the curb. It's important that when people are asking us to pick up the brush, that they keep their trash separate from the brush. I saw some over the weekend where some people had trash bags full of stuff and their brush piled right up on top of it. My guess is we're not going to be able to pick that up like that. Or if we do pick it up with the clamshell truck, it'll be when we're back on just picking up trash. Because we can't. The wood chips are recycled at the landfill, so we have a big chipper out there, and that's an ongoing operation. Hundreds of tons of brush has been chipped out there. So a side benefit of that is anybody that wants chips or mulch, it's not the kind of mulch that you would go find bagged up at Lowe's, but it's mulch of all kinds of wood chipped up at the landfill. You can go out there and pick it up, and for a small fee, we'll load your truck with a front end loader, and the mulch is free.
Oh, that's great.
We've got a very large supply of mulch.
Well, that's great for gardeners that are needing mulch. Now, other projects that are coming up, the trail sign, there's also Call Lake, and also, road construction.
Yeah, let's talk Call Lake. Call Lake is an ongoing project. It's going to end up being a 7 to 8 year project, started in about 2015. We are on the last phase of engineering now. And we should finish that phase by the end of this calendar year in December. We should have 100% engineered plans. In addition, by the end of November, we should have a guaranteed maximum price of what the pipeline and the water treatment plant and the distribution system and the intake will cost the city of Enid. And we believe that's going to be $240 million or less. And when we add that number with all of the engineering fees and the land acquisition and the geotech and the environmental studies and the fees for that, the total project cost is $315 million. So we believe we'll are going to be in budget. We're going to find out by the end of this calendar year. The City Commission is going to get an update on August 4th, And so when the City Commission gets an update, the public also gets an update. And they will hear from our engineer, Garver, and they will also hear from our construction manager at risk, who's the general contractor going to build the whole thing, Garney. And so if you're interested in the Call Lake project, you should tune in. That meeting, we are conducting the meetings both live and on Zoom, so it's convenient for people to watch. It's also streamed, as you know, on YouTube and Facebook live as it's happening. Zoom gives you the ability to interact if you want to sign up for comments. And then, of course, we'll meet in live for everybody that feels comfortable coming out. It's a challenging time with COVID, so we've tried to socially distance our chairs, and so we have less seating capacity for people in public. But anyway, Call Lake's moving along. That's probably our biggest, well, it is the biggest capital project in the city's history, and it's the biggest project we have going.
Right.
The trail signage is an effort that started probably back in March or April, following a study session in February, and it's just to mark our trails better. So we're working on 9 signs. We've had a trail map designed professionally by Hive Appeal, Kelly Tompkins here in town. It looks really great. And we're just in the last phases of putting that prototype together so that we're looking to build signs that are attractive, aesthetically pleasing, provide the information people want about the trails, and are easy to repair or replace. And I think we've just about achieved that, so those will be going up soon.
Great.
There's still ongoing road construction at the overpass is one of the main areas. I do not know when they're going to be complete. I think it's going to run into next year a little bit. I just don't know how far.
Right.
I do know they're making a lot of progress, and it'll be a wonderful improvement when it's complete. We do have other road projects beginning to line up. I know we're working on the area on Randolph from about 26th Street or maybe 24th Street to 30th. That'll be preceded by a water line move. We just completed Broadway all the way out to University and finished University from Maine to Randolph, so that's really nice now too for folks. So we're always looking to make road improvements. Those are some of the things. Maple Street between between Washington and Washington and Independence, I believe, is one of the next streets up. We've already moved the water line. That's between the 2 big tall buildings downtown. And so that'll be a nice project when that's gets going and is complete.
Okay, great. Now, there are quality of life programs that are out there now. The public library is hosting or has the program, the Lunch Bunch free meal program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Lunch Bunch is excuse me a minute. Lunch Bunch is a program that the library has partnered up with Loaves and Fishes through and they get food through the regional food bank, and they work with the public school systems to provide some meals for school kids during a short period of about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks before they go back to school. In Enid, I believe the go back to school date is August 13th. So this program, I believe, has just started or started last week.
Yes.
And it will end before August 13th, because then the school system will pick up the meals for the kids. But I believe they're distributing down by Forgotten Ministries this year. And it's a wonderful program. I appreciate the initiative of the folks at the library and their efforts to help out in the community.
Yeah, and the neat thing about this is that it's from not just school ages, but it's from newborn to 18 years old. So that's the really neat thing about all of this. Economic development, there are a design of phase 2 of the trail for downtown was completed.
Yeah, phase 2 of the trail that we're talking about is really phase 2 of getting from the football stadium to the downtown area, particularly Broadway, where there's good sidewalk and trail constructed now. And so there's probably 3 or so blocks that we need to do north of Garriott to get connected close enough downtown where there's good sidewalks where you can get to Broadway, or you can go other places that you would like. Broadway, the trail extends all the way out to University now and connects with both universities out there. So that's exciting. And we'll use the existing crosswalk by the fire station to get across the road. I know one of the projects for this current fiscal year that engineering is working on is fixing the crossing at Grand. Ultimately, that'll be the real crossing, I guess, for the trail.
Right.
This year, we're planning to fix the traffic signal pole that's been damaged on the northeast corner, and we're planning to fix the southeast corner so that we can have ADA ramps and signals and a crosswalk there. And when that occurs, that'll be the preferred map for getting downtown on the trail system.
Awesome. Now, the community development staff has been assisting Teague Bickford with proposal basketball gym project at 4102 South La Mesa. Can you tell me about that? That's really exciting.
Well, I think that Teague Bickford, a leader in the community, is trying to put together something for people to do. Mm-hmm. And so he's working with city staff to make that happen. And we certainly try to help folks, whether it's individuals or organizations, in anything they're trying to do to provide events for the public. We certainly assist with that, and we have resources to help people with that. So we look forward to that, and I think that'll be a wonderful event.
Mm-hmm. Also, now with public health, there has been an increase of COVID cases, mm-hmm. and even though the city of Enid did not vote in favor for mandating facial PPEs, a lot of businesses in Enid have opted requiring masks for people who wanted to go, for example, like Walmart. That's a big mm-hmm. one. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, one of the most highly attended and watched meetings, I think, ever for the city of Enid was that special meeting we had about almost 2 weeks ago now on a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. I want to say we had over 50,000 views on yes. Facebook on that. It was. It's an amazing turnout. The public came out and spoke about their feelings about it, whether they wanted that or thought that was appropriate or didn't. The majority of people at that meeting or online that spoke up seemed to relay that mask wearing, well, it was everything from a range of, mask wearing is not effective to we need to have masks, we need to wear a mask out of respect for others and to protect the vulnerable. So we heard a gamut of things there. In the end, the commission determined that didn't think we were quite ready for a mandatory masking ordinance or proclamation, so they voted it down 5-2. Since mm-hmm. then, as you pointed out, many of the businesses in the community require masks to go into their buildings and their spaces and their stores. So the proclamation that we did have, or declaration, would have required mandatory masking in indoor public places. So many of those places are taken care of now by the businesses themselves. You mentioned Walmart, Lowe's, I think the big box stores, many of the mm-hmm. chain pharmacies like right. CVS, Walgreens, mm-hmm. Dollar General. I'm sure there's probably many others that I'm not even mentioning here. Certainly everyone should respect what those businesses are mm-hmm. requesting, and if you're going to go in those stores, you should wear a mask.
Right. And also be mindful that the individuals who ask for you to wear a mask don't necessarily want to be in that position of trying right. to enforce that. It's just they're going to a job, and that is what is required. And so it's a really tight position, so I think mindfulness with businesses who are still trying to pay their employees and also take care of the employees at the same time, and the customers, mindfulness, I think, would be important too.
Yes. One of the most important things that we watch at the City of Enid is the number of active COVID cases, infections mm-hmm. in the city. I believe, I haven't seen today's report, but after Sunday's report, I believe the city was at 106
right.
of active COVID cases. That's doubled what it was a week ago on Monday when we had about 53 or something like that. So it is spreading. It is a significant, serious issue. The CDC and the guidance that I have seen tells us that the most important thing you can do is maintain physical distance. Right. Physical distancing, whether it's in the workplace or standing in a line somewhere, avoiding large gatherings. And of course, they recommend wearing masks. We've already talked about the mask issue. Certain places you go in town are going to require masks now anyway. So people just need to be careful. They need to be mindful. Testing is becoming more prevalent, but the demand for testing now during this spike is making it still take a long time to get your test results back.
Right.
And I notice that people are still standing in line at Express Wellness as I drive by, waiting to get scheduled for a test. So I'd recommend everybody be careful, constantly be thinking about the threat, and do what you can to mitigate that threat for yourself and everybody else.
Thank you. Now, the Garfield County Health Department has partnered with the City of Enid, and they're doing what is a community exercises, and they're been also incorporating social distancing with the community exercises. Can you tell us a little bit about the partnership between the Garfield County Health Department and the city to make this possible?
Sure, I'll tell you a little about the partnership. I think from my perspective as a city manager, one of the good things that comes out of a crisis like COVID-19, we don't like any crises like this to happen or bad things to happen, but one of the good things that comes out of it is I believe the city has a closer working relationship with Garfield County, the Garfield County Health Department. And that has emerged out of necessity with this crisis. In fact, I think you guys are still doing a show on Fridays where Garfield County comes and updates the situation. And they have their finger on the pulse better than anybody because all the test results go through the Department of Health.
Correct.
And so I appreciate Maggie Jackson and her staff that have helped. And I think it's some of her staff, Ray, I think specifically, that maybe set up one of those classes.
Yes, absolutely. There's a wide range of exercising classes. There's walking buddies at Government Springs. There's sensory-friendly chair yoga at Champion Gym. There's also regular yoga at Champion Gym, strength class at Champion Gym, aqua cardio at Champion Pool, and circuit training at Champion Gym. So yes, Ray did help put all of this together, and the city, did a great job helping it come, into fruition. So.
Yeah, so we really appreciate that relationship. I think it's gotten better. Certainly not just from my perspective, but I think from communications. I think from the park department now, who's made the building available, and so it's great. And we know that with the Garfield County sponsoring those classes or putting them on, we know they're going to be done in the safest manner possible.
Right, it's a great thing. Now, what are some things that are happening within the city of Enid? There's always opportunities for growth. What are the kind of jobs that we're looking to fill here at the city of Enid?
Well, some of the openings that we have right now that have been hard to fill are positions where people work outside fixing things in public utilities and public works. So I know we have openings in our street department, particularly for roadway maintenance workers. I know in our utility maintenance department we have openings for field operators who are the folks that fix water lines. And our water lines are underground, so they're difficult to see and assess all the time, but almost everybody, when they see water coming out of the ground, they know there's a water leak somewhere. And so those are the folks that get to go out in all kinds of weather just like this, when it's cold, when it's hot. It's usually extreme weather one way or the other when we have breaks, and they get out and fix those things. And so we certainly appreciate all of our employees doing that. And we're always looking for people that are civic minded, looking for a job and not afraid of hard work. Those are some positions we have to fill currently. And there's always a list of other positions that you can see online. And please apply if you're qualified for any of those or think you are. Please apply. We're always looking to hire people.
Absolutely. Now, the engineering department, the notice to proceed for construction of the Meadow Lake Low Water Crossing was issued during the pre-construction meeting. Can you tell us a little bit about the Meadow Lake Low Water Crossing?
Yes, I believe that notice to proceed is for next week. I don't know if it's going to be, that may be one that might be delayed because of the rain. If it continues to rain this week and the water in spillways way up, that may cause some issues. I do know that as they build that low water crossing at Meadow Lake, they're going to have to pump water around anyway, so maybe it doesn't make a difference there. It's going to be a nice improvement, and it's part of the long-term process of building the trail throughout the city and connecting the trail. And there's some trail going to Meadow Lake Park along the core channel, but there's no good way to get across the spillway area or east of the spillway area. So this low water crossing is going to fix that, and then we'll have to work on connecting sidewalks and a trail to Vance after that. So very exciting. That's a big piece. It's an expensive piece. I want to say it's about $450,000 or so. I think it'll be a nice improvement when it's complete. So.
Yes, I agree. Now, what is going to be on the agenda for the study session and also the upcoming commission meeting?
Well, we have a couple things already. Number one is the Call Lake update. That'll be on the study session portion with Garver and Gardy here, and that'll probably take the majority of the time in the study session. That'll typically take about 30 minutes or more to update the commission and answer their questions about the progress we're making. Specifically, they're going to want to know about our progress towards a guaranteed maximum price, which we need to have in November, and certainly collaboration about cost reductions to make sure we stay within our budget. They'll talk about land acquisition progress. I think we're about 80+% on acquiring land acquisition parcels. So those are the kind of things they'll update. We're also looking at an ordinance revision related to shared living, a concept that's similar to group living or group homes, but the definition of group homes in our code does not quite fit because it's focused on licensed facilities from DHS, Department of Human Services, and for developmentally disabled people. And this concept we're talking about group homes is more for senior living and folks that may want to live in a residential type environment, basically in a big house. And so that's something we'll be looking at in study session. We'll probably add another item or two, but currently those are two things that will be on there. So the regular meeting will have some of the usual items. I believe there's a hearing on, it's either a rezoning or I believe it's a rezoning. There's several construction items on there. We just reviewed the agenda today as we work towards posting on Friday. And so there's a lot of, there will be some definition given to some of the placeholder items we have now. So myself or Scott will have more details next Monday on what's going to be on the following, a week from tomorrow's agenda meeting.
Now, for viewers who don't know the difference between a study session and a commission, can you clarify that? Like, in the study session, you don't sign up to speak, but you can at the commission meeting.
Yes, at study sessions, those are typically for the commissioners to study items or give them information on items either that they want to know about or that the city staff wants to share with them in preparation for some decision item or action item that might be coming up. And so typically those are times for staff and or other folks from the outside to educate them, inform them, give them information and options for a future decision to be made later. Normally the things that are on the study session aren't things for them to take action on the same night's regular agenda, although sometimes there are. Usually there are items in advance to start giving them information about future decisions. So typically there isn't public comments solicited during that time frame, although the mayor can always call on people if he wants to. In the regular meeting, we invite any citizen or anybody that wants to talk about any agenda item, or if they have an item that's not really related to any of the agenda items, they can just talk in public comments. Typically their comments are limited to 3 to 5 minutes, depending on what the mayor's guidance is. So that's really the opportunity for the public to come and have input. But the public can actually have input all the time with their commissioners. They can email them, they can call them anytime they want. Their information is on the website. And I know the commissioners invite that because they work and represent the people, particularly the people in their ward, but they also represent people in Enid. So they like to hear feedback.
Yes.
They like it to be constructive feedback, just like I do. I mean, they have certainly, I'm sure, gotten their fair share of I would say counselings
Yes.
over the phone or in person,
Yeah.
and that goes with the territory. But it's always best for the public if they give constructive feedback, or anybody giving
Correct.
feedback. We're certainly open to it. We know that everything we do at City Hall doesn't mean it's the best way or the
Correct.
most efficient way.
Correct.
So we're open.
And I think it's also good to be aware that the commissioners receive how many emails a day and how many phone calls. So they may not get to each person directly one-on-one, but that they are reading their emails, that they
Yes.
are listening to their voicemails. And so, but it's always good and it's always encouraged to reach out to them because they will see
Yes,
it.
and typically I believe they work to respond to all of those. I do know they made some comments, some of them did at the Wednesday meeting we had almost 2 weeks ago. There was such a large volume of feedback that they, in some cases, didn't get a chance to talk to everybody. So don't be discouraged by that if you were one telling them you wanted to wear a mask or you don't want them to wear a mask and they just didn't have time. Normally that's not the norm. So yes, please do reach out to them. They're your representatives, and you can always reach out to me as well, or Scott Morris as the Assistant City Manager. And certainly we have avenues to reach out through communications too if you don't know who to reach out to. And
Correct.
so you can just get your info to somebody and we'll get it to the right person.
Correct. And if we can go ahead and pull up Jerald's information to get a hold of you. I know there is someone who was concerned about reaching a commissioner or
Sure.
getting a call back, but if you can contact either you or I, that would be perfect. Also, there was some concerns. There's a question online about city streets that are flooding.
Yes.
If they are concerned about it, where would they go to? Who would they call? Or
Again, they can certainly reach out to me. We pass those on to our street department now as a roadway and stormwater department. They have joint responsibilities. I know right now they're working on stormwater. They're working on making sure stormwater drains stay open and clear. They're also working on if the water's getting too high at any place in town, they put out cones. You can also reach out, particularly after hours. The police department takes those phone calls and routes them to the after hours folks in the street department. I do know it is raining a lot. I haven't been out yet to check ditches, but when it rains a significant amount in a short period of time, we have many shallow ditches in town and inadequate structures to handle the rain flow. Overall, our system's doing fairly well, but we have, in the last week or two, we've had some significant rainstorms that have taxed our system. So I hope that's not happening today, but I know it started raining this morning and I can hear it still raining outside. So if there's an immediate concern, yeah, please reach out to us. Certainly you can reach out through the police department or you can reach out through city staff. By contacting Public Works, you can always reach out to me too. My number is 580-616-7245. That comes directly to me. So.
thank you for that, Jerald. And is there anything else that I've missed that you want to touch on or you want to share?
I was just going to
Enid?
mention that I know people are very excited about some of the future economic development that they have heard about and that we have
yes.
issued press releases. The movie theater is
Yes, Apex.
one of
Cinemas.
those things, and specifically, I know we are conducting weekly calls with that developer, and we actually have one tomorrow. And so I think we're getting close to an agreement that we'll bring back to the City Commission. You know, the City Commission already approved an incentive package for the movie theater. We just have to get the agreement done. So we're very excited that we're getting close to that. I know ERDA, Lisa Powell, Ricky Hayes, and actually representatives from the developer, from the district, I should say, in particular Don Rose, and the movie theater developer himself are involved in those meetings. So we believe we're making progress, and hopefully it may be the first or second, it'll probably be the second meeting in August. We hope to get that agreement on the agenda for approval so that we can start the timeline and get the developer going. I know he's excited to be here. So
Yeah, great.
yeah.
A lot of neat things going on in Enid, so this is really great. All right, so thank you for being
You
here,
bet. Thank
for
you for
enjoying
having me.
the rain and making it coming through. And thank you for the Enid viewers that are watching. This is a great place to stay updated on city updates and what is going on in your city. And till next time, thank you.